solo. This should not happen in your edit.
I think for
kune midzimu yetinongoreverera kumidzimu yedu yatisati tamukurukura naye tinongoziva kuti iriko nekuti munhu wese tinotenda kuti munhu ekinga afa wava mudzimu. Ndosaka muchiona pachiwano tichichema dzimwe dzenguva tinochema nemudzimu wekwamai wako. Mudzimu wekwamai wako pamwe unenge usina kutobvira wakataura nayo, asi ndoziva kuti inonyanyouya ndeyedzidza rekwako. Sekuru wako anogona kuuya, anogona kuva ari musha.
I think we need to come to that understanding. And I get it as Africans, it's very difficult to correlate these two things. But because I heard Abraham, Jesus, Muhammad, Judah. Definitely not. The crux of the matter is issue of record. So the Eastern, Western people have recorded their history very well. The Jews have got a very meticulous way of recording their lineage, and their religion is also very well documented. Then God chose the Jews, that Jesus would come through the Jews. Therefore, there's a highlight on the religion. But the principles in the Jewish religion and most of what we do as Africans, there is a direct correlation. Then also, that's not true. There are a lot of black people that were in Israel during the time of Jesus, black Jews that are there. Not that I want us as black people to be called Jews, no, but I'm just trying to highlight the issue of some of the history that knows what now might be a bit distorted. But coming to the issue of ancestors, name with them, what is the role of an ancestor? My understanding, an ancestor is someone who lived years back within my lineage. At some point, I will be someone's ancestor. I think we need to come to that understanding. A system that says if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, the benefit is 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do the negative, then you're going to reap what you're going to. You sow something negative, you reap the same.
Pastor. Say one poison. You want to talk about ancestors on our side, yet you know nothing. You don't want us to talk about your Bible, to talk about the things that are real. Because if you believe kuti mapa neimwe level where do you learn that level? No, wait, and I speak. We don't want people to preach poison too and talk about ancestors that you don't know. You're not an ancestor. When things about ancestors, ask us.
We accept that. So should ancestors be adored? Should they be feared? Should they be worshipped? Are they superpowers? What are they? Because from the role and the description I've shared with you, which none of you have disputed, it doesn't sound like they are a superpower of sorts. Abel, I want to give this one to you.
In fact, I wanted to ask you a question. My understanding, I've been made to understand that ancestors don't punish, but they withdraw their protection. I don't know how far true that is. And if that is true, in any way, whether they punish or they withdraw their protection, I want to understand my relationship with God, minus the ancestors. This is where the whole debate for me is. What is really their place?
Yeah.
Do I necessarily have to...
And this is what I'm asking. Are they supposed to be feared? Are they supposed to be adored? Are they superpowers? What are they?
Let me just assist you on that.
If I can say something.
Oh, sorry. So you're going to have to wear your headphones because Mfundi is But you know what? For the interest of time, can we start there next week? And I had actually the similar question. What should our relationship be with our ancestors? And I think that's an important question. We can't run away from this. And I'm hearing what you say, Mfundisi, about even them being a reference point. But even then, we also see certain parts of the Bible where it's not just a reference point. Why was that important?
It's just the same for like Jesuka. That let's forget about Jesus and people just worship through to God without Jesus. So if that cannot happen, it also cannot happen.
I get you. Because in Christianity they are saying it's only through Jesus. So you are saying similarly. If you're saying ngati bise vadzimu, ngati bise
Jesus. He's alive right now. He's alive right now.
Our sisters alive.
Can we talk about that?
Our sisters alive. That's why I'm
and
here.
Sekuru is saying, can you talk about being African without your ancestors? So that was last week's conversation. You can tell at the end there, everybody wanted to have in their 2 cents. And this is where we want to pick up the conversation, and you too can be a part of it. Dr. Tunu ngera soro yedu kubva ipapo. Ndotanga na Sekuru Mafuta. Tawa Abel, who's not here. So continuing our conversation this morning, we still have Sekuru Mafuta in the building. Sekuru Mafuta is a traditional expert, and he comes from Darabat Zimu. He's a pastor, he's an author, and he's also an entrepreneur in our conversation. Unfortunately, Abel is unable to make it, and he is our marketplace priest. And he's unwell. We are sending him well wishes wherever he is. You too can be a part of the conversation on 0719 100 404. Sekuru Dr. Tangira Papa Ebo langa chibvunza mvunzo iye achiti maonera ake mdzimu aikwanisi kurwa muneshamo inongouya kupa ratidzo tichifamba wakadai nokuti mbunyikidza kuti chengetedza mune zvinhu zvakaipa munodaira muchitishi
chirungu changa achitaura achiedza kutsanangura kuti midzimu aipanishi munhu inongobvisa protection. Kana iwe unge wakachengetedzwa nemidzimu ukanga usisina protection yawo yangofanana nekuti wapanishwa nekuti imbwa dzinongouya dzichikuruma, matsotsi anoya achikweka, saka hakuna punishment inopfuura iyoyo. Saka ndikuzama kuti munorohwa neshamo. Patinenge tichiti munorohwa neshamo inovhurira mhepo. Kuvhurira mhepo ndokuti kana yatoregedza kukubatsira, tarisai muone nyika yechipikirwa, nyika yeZimbabwe, madzudzu ari kunetsa mazhinji acho. Mungaswero tendekane zvigunwe asi mhaka ndedzenyu. Masarudza Mwari asiri wenyu, masarudza kunamata kusiri kwenyu, masiya kwenyu. Mafurirwa nevauyi vane nzira dzemusinganzwisisi. Mukawaona vachitanga nzira dzacho, vanotanga vasina chavainacho vachifamba nemapatapata. Asi mukazowaona kwemakore 2, 3, 4, munowaona vato madzimambo wakutoita kunge ndiwo wakakomborerwa kupfuura imi, asi musakanganwa kuti mari dzenyu dzemunenge muchiwapa ma10%. Saka ndringoti izvozvo hazviwaniki kunesu vanotedzera tsika, nekuti tinoti aiwa tinorarama hongo tichiwanawo zvishoma asi hatizosviki mukuparadza misha kana kuparadza nzvimbo. Zvakawanda zvinoitika. Saka iwe wakateerera panguva dzino, kana wenga wakarashika uchiti midzimu hakusisina, ungasarudze chitendero chipi. Zvangofanana nebarrier society. Enda zvako hatikurambidzi nekuti unenge uchida kundotandara uriko, asi tambe tindike. Ziva kuti une musha, ziva kuti une chiwano chinoda kugadziridzwa, ziva kuti une makuwa anoda kurohwa, ziva kuti une mombe yeumai inoda kubviswa, nekuti ava ancestors vakatipa ma-guidelines ekurarama kwetinoita. Regardless of you can change laws, munochinja mutemo, you can go to any religion, but if those laws, mitemo yamunopuwa ma-religion ichinge isingaenderani nema-guidelines our ancestors, you will still get to find it.
It's Faith Facts. Welcome and good morning on the Crunch. Last week we were looking at some of the roles of our ancestors on our day-to-day scale, and it suggested that ancestors act as mediators between God and the living. They monitor, they sometimes oversee what is happening within a community. They bring punishment to the wrongdoer or blessings to those who live uprightly. They also give instructions, directions on what should be done by members of the community. They rebuke, they give a warning of punishment to somebody who may not be doing things correctly. They are also create a sense of identity for an African person. and they also welcome the dead to the spiritual realm, and they also are often, yeah. So let's leave it there. Pane zvatataura zvosekuru, pane zvamunoti zvifolake havaiti here midzimu yedu kana kuti munowirirana nazvo?
Tingati tinowirirana kuti midzimu yedu inotichengeta. Tinowirirana kuti midzimu yedu ndiyo kutogara ipapo zvakatosarudzwa nemidzimu yako kuti uchange uchisangana nemhuri dzakawanda. Kana risina kutenderwa ungadai usipo. Ukaita unhubu rinogona kupera basha usina chawaita. Kana ukanganisa mudzimu wako panongoita mhepo yekutonzi apabiwa pana vandiforaki asi iwe ungosipo muso wacho. Zvotongonzi ndiwe.
All right. Mfundisi Zinyemba, do you think it's possible to be an African without embracing ancestry?
Very interesting question. I don't think so, because who we are as African, our values, our culture, inherent in us is understanding of ancestors. But I try to learn as much as I can, you know, and based upon the discussions we've had, I'm realizing that there is a difference between Mudzimu and my ancestors. There is a difference.
Okay.
And when you talk about Mudzimu, we're not talking about our ancestors. That's my understanding. But allow me just to take a step back and address something that Sekuru mentioned about Bafundis, after 2-3 years. I want to say over 90% of the pastors, servants of God, women of God, also pastor, whatever title they might have, priest, are genuine. Over 90%. Yes, there are a few that are not doing it genuinely. There are a few that are abusing people. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. And I cannot stand and defend that. I don't know them by name. I'm just saying, yes, and if you find yourself in such a situation whereby there's an abusive man of God or woman of God in your life, please don't stay there. You know, rather move and go. Because, and then number two, musaende kuchechi muchinotandara mataurira sekuru mafuta endai kunoona matamwari muziva zvakafambira nekuti nzira yatotaura nezvayo heaven and hell is a reality, and a genuine church will guide your soul kuti uende kudenga. Now, coming to the question that you've asked me about ancestors, the role of an ancestor is very simple. I want to refer to the Bible. In Genesis 18, God says this: He was about to send angels to Sodom and Gomorrah just to destroy that place because of the sin and so forth. But God says this: can I hide this from Abraham? Because he will train his children. The role of an ancestor is, like I said, at some point I'll be an ancestor. My role, whilst I'm alive here, is to establish something that I can pass on to such that 100 years, 200 years from now, the good values, education, lifestyle, whatever, I can pass it on to them. But I will stress what I always stress. Once I have left this dimension, I'm gone. I have no direct correlation whatsoever to what's here. In fact, those who have passed away and are on the other side have no desire to come back here. Because Kwakatosiana, it's a different world altogether. And those that do want to come back, and they are saying, please give me a chance to go back.
Yeah, you said for you there's a difference between an ancestor. What is that for you?
Mudzimu.
Mudzimu.
Yes.
Sorry. So there's a difference in your mind between Mudzimu and Tate Guru?
Yes.
There's a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
From my understanding. Because if you're telling me, this is me just thinking, if you're telling me that the role of Mudzimu is to protect the list that you gave, from where I stand, as I said, an ancestor is someone who lived. I am alive because of my ancestors. Were they not here, I would not be here. And I have a responsibility to honor them by living a good life, upholding decent values. Couldn't say those that came before me. But the same applies to those coming in the future. I have a responsibility to live right for the sake of those coming in the future. That's it. That's as far as the role of my ancestors go. Then Mudzimu, from what I'm understanding, is a very present reality. Something that's in the meta realm, in the spirit realm, that is sent to guide, to protect, and so on. So when we now talk from the Christian perspective, are there spirit beings that assist us? Yes, they are there. That God has sent. Every human being has a guardian angel. God has assigned angels. You see, God has assigned angels to every human being, whether you're a Christian or not. God has assigned angels for purposes. God has assigned angels to nations, to regions. So let's say there is a purpose that I'm supposed to fulfill. That assignment on its own, God will resource that assignment. So now, Canada kurota in you see, most of us, the majority of people, we cannot see God. We cannot see Ngiros. So in our dreams, for the sake of our understanding, kutisafende tukuhope. Mwari vanotendedza kuti urote munhu waunoziva achitaura newe umngoti sekuru vangu vataura nini mai vangu vataura vandiudza kuti, but it's not them, it's a dream. And in that dream, the message that you have received is relevant to where you are, but havasi mai vako vataura newe. It is zvakafanana nekuti I want to mwana mucheche anopiwa sirelaka handiti mukuru anodya maybe sadza rehufu and so forth. So uri chiri mwana saka kuti unzwisise, God breaks it down and gives it to you in a palatable manner, so you understand.
Yeah.
Pastor, kupuwa sireleke mwana mudiki madana munhu anopuwa porridge rezviyo. Dambudziko riripo nderekuti makadzidziswa zvisiri izvo nekuti hasiri zvedu, and at one point hazviri kuti mwana asina kudya sireleke hakuri ende munhu andokura. Saka point yetoda kutaura ndeyekuti muchiona pastor vari panapa ka vabvuma kuti midzimu inochengeta, asi vari kuisa tumazita tumatitle takuti anzi encho what tumatitle chikuru watunhu ichocho ari kuhwanda nekuti wakakolonizwa nevauyi vakauya vakabata history dzavo dzebhaibheri. Vauya vakabata history dzebhaibheri ndodzavari kuti yeye zvakati yeye anzi kungochirota panenge kari kaspirit kamwari kanenge kachikurotesa. Zvakanyorwa kupi mungano dzenye hazvitorimo zvanga achitaura. So where is he getting this information? Ngano dzaanoverenga hakutomborina about dreams. There's nothing about dreams zvinotaurwa nezvokuti munhu pamune muchirota ndimwari anenge achitaura imi mukaona munhu anenge auya. All you know what we're saying, Pastor, you don't know what you're talking about. When Pastor doesn't know what he's talking about, you end up trying by all means kuti atadzise vanhu kuti vadzidze. Nauro iripanapa ndekutibatsire nyika. Nyika inofanira kuziva kuti mudzimu whether uchienda kuchechi kana usingaendi kana uchienda in any religion, midzimu yako yakakosha, ende unofanira kutoziva kuti munhu yese akafa you become an ancestors. Munofanira kuti mundoteure muchiteurira tsika. Munofanira kubika doro pastor kupera kutanga kwegore unofanira kutobika doro
muri kuti mimi ndikauraya munhu ndikaponda ndiri mhondi pandinofa ndoramba ndiri ancestor.
Aiwa
ndiri mudzimu
pauno ukaita chiwi you are condemned. Even tikatanga kutoratisa ipapa tinotarisa kuti pane mweya ndosa muchizonzwa nzanzi vanhu vanofanira kana iri mhondi munhu nemabasa ake, kana mudzimu chacho anokurowa netsvimbo kuti ina unoripe, kana usina kuripa usina kureurira zvinotosvika pakuti makare munhu kana asinganzwa aitodzingwa mumusha nemidzimu yakuti uyu hatimudi. Zvafanira munhu azvisungira hawigwi pamarinda pari kuigwa vanhu vasina kusungirira. Marinda evanhu vakasungira anenge ari kwaoipa. Point yangu ndeyekuti hazvitenderwi zvamuri kutaura izvozvo. Ende kuchiwano kana munhu achitedzera chiwano hapondi, kana asingapondi maybe anenge ari maybe kwenyu kumasatanist maybe not kwenyu chiwano.
Point yangu yandoda kuedza kutaura ndeyekuti zvinhu izvi zvika izvi tinofanira kubatsirana tichionesana handitika. Kana mambotaura nezveshoko raMwari kuti zvehope nei hazvimo, aiwa zvirimo zvakazara chaizvo. In fact Mwari anotaura kuti kana pane muprofita wangotaura naye nehope. Saka kuroteswa kuriko ende hazvirevi kuti kana usiri muprofita haurote hope. Aiwa munhu wese anorota hope. In fact hope ndo dzimwe nzira Mwari dzavanoshandisa kutaura nemunhu. Okay, so God will speak through dreams. Ndimwari vari kutaura, ndimwari, not through an ancestor. Number one. Number two, ini ndoda kutaura kuti tofanira kumboti fungei mbichana. And I think ndakamboedza kuitaura mathematics. Kuti right now as we are here, there are 8 billion people throughout the world. 8 billion. Vangani vanhu who have lived on the earth. I mean, we're talking about in the hundreds of the billions. Saka vakawanda say my ancestor. You understand? It gets confusing now. Which ancestor am I supposed to speak to?
But is it not more practical that you could have billions of ancestors than one person looking out for billions of people?
This is where I'm coming to. That there is, if we understand the protocols and the systems that are in place, the confusion then it's demystified. Because when we speak about Remudzimu Nechi, we somehow make it African. And I'm saying it's not an African thing.
Understood.
This is a very practical, principled rather issue that is not African, it's universal.
Let me just answer you when you're saying there are billions of people who have lived before. Do you understand that among the billions of people, they were not all presidents and they were not all leaders? And those who would come back and assist are called leaders. And you know, Mashikiro or ancestors, those who would come and get into the fresh and speak, there's going to be a meeting saying, you know what, you will represent us. Not everyone in the family can have a spiritual spirit and become an ancestor in the family, but only the chosen one. So among the chosen one, before they even mentioned, I'm a chosen one, because they chose me from my own family, that the ancestor will come. Before I was even born, they'd chosen me. So in reality, even God knows. You know, among when 2 people or 3 people discussed, God is also present. So we're saying when even the spirits discuss angels, what you call angels, and then this is when they discuss before they even done anything, the God will say, no, I've permitted Morrison Mafuta to be the guidance of the Moyo family.
Yeah.
So
but it is a good question that Mfundisi is asking. Kana chitasa iyo nyaya yemudzimu yachona kuti isusu kudzinza redu kune vanhu vakawanda vhiki rakadarika ndaipa menzaniso kwekuti inini ndiri mwana wadhagiwo uri mwana wamartin mabhibi ndewa wamakwaremba ndewa mupikiti. So there's a long list in front of me. So when I'm looking to my ancestors kana ndichitsvaka kubetserwa nekuprotecta, pane hierarchy here kana kuti uri kungovadana vose kungoti mudzimu lineage, yes. Is there somebody specific that we're looking into? Because it is a long line of legacy, isn't it? Kubva isusu taka
kuna Adam and Eve.
Indrimera tembo takabva tateguru wangu akabva kumanika kuMozambique. I'm sure asatabva kuMozambique aibvawo kwake. Ndiwe kwaHumba actually. Raive Humba Mutasa tikazokundwa tikabva sazochinja. Long story. But tisati tava kwaMutasa takabva kwamanika. Takabva elsewhere. So mvunzo wa Mfundisi in a sense is valid. When we are then looking to your ancestor to protect you, which one is it? Is it the whole lineage?
Okay.
How does it work?
Let me explain to you. There's got a hierarchy. What you have to do, first of all, you start with the father of your father. That's the one that you know. Kana wakafa ndo unosumira. Even though anoziva kuti wanoisvitsa kunani. Everyone, because even right now which one is the light of your family, kuti mimi sana Mutasa, ngozi yenyu kana kuti mudzimu wenyu uri kusvitsa kuna musikawane ndoupi. You don't even know, maybe akatofira ari kuMozambique in the spiritual realm. Saka iwe unosvitsa kuna sekuru wako, baba wakabereka baba wako, ndo unotaurira. Kana vataurira iva vanosumudza, no matter ndiani, no system iripo. Tinototanga unaende kuna sekuru wenu. Iyo ndo vanosimudzira. Saka zvichireva kuti mumwe nemumwe ane chekuita, ane basa rekuita. Zvaine basa rekuita, asi anoziva kwavanoturira. Regardless kuti mhepo yacho iri kudzika kana kuti haisi kudzika.
Do ancestors have superpowers, Sekuru?
They have superpowers. They have superpowers. They have. They don't want just to demonstrate, but if time permits, if I demonstrate, if my ancestors want to demonstrate, you don't go, but they can demonstrate because of this.
We're
situation.
Also live on our Facebook page.
They can demonstrate. I can give you a good example. Tina Tangwena, akapwanyirwa musha, and the following day misha isenga yadzokera. Those are superpowers. What greater musha chachao? Ona misha yega yadzokera. Tina kariko gumire miseve. Wangofungidzwa kuti munhu arongoramba ane gumire miseve chete pese paona.
So if they have superpowers, Sekuru, havasi vakutora nzvimbo yamusikavanhu here. Ma superpowers avanayo ndei. Ma class monitor, ma prefect, the headmaster.
Can I ask another question? Do angels have superpowers?
Yeah,
before you answer,
so that I can also speak.
Powers are given by the Creator, and they want to put one name mabasa awo. Kana mudzimu wega uchiuya unoya nesimba rawo nemabasa awo. Anogona kunga akasiyana mabasa nesimba racho. Asi like Chaminuka akatadza kuurayiwa. kudobaya museve parutiwa apa kudodai kudodii kutobaya banga raitadza kubhamba apa pamutumbo wake achitadza kuurayiwa
achichengetwa nemudzimu
wake but azoona kuti vanhu vatambura akati aiwa mese mi hamuna simeme torai kamwana kadiki kandibaye ndo kanokwanisa kandibaya nekuti mese mune zviwi
angabatwawo nemweya wasamson ukuudza vanhu masikireti voyeyi
those were superpowers. You talk of nehanda they failed to kill him until wazonzitora nhekwe.
Gotcha. Mfundisi, do angels have superpowers?
Yes, they do. We call them superpowers because we're in this dimension. But Kawari Iwa is not superpower, it's who they are. So again, I'll reiterate that point. Yeah, and ancestor is very important because without them, I don't exist. And I must live in a way that honors them. Now I'm here. At some point, I'll be someone's ancestor. So for the sake of posterity, I must actually honor the future by living right and pass on a good legacy. However, there is a difference. Once someone has died, they are no longer, they have got no access and no interaction with this dimension of life.
Yeah.
Because
the Bible has said so.
Yes, the Bible has said so, but like I said, if we look at the Bible, there are ways of interpreting the Bible. You can twist it if you want. So yes,
it's not a proper thing because it can be twisted. That means that this thing is not right thing because people can penetrate.
When I'm saying twisted, I'm not saying in him.
You're saying one who can interpret it however.
Yes. Okay. There are laws of how you interpret the Bible. It's called hermeneutics. So if you interpret it properly, we are together. But anyone can just pick a verse and say whatever they want. So I'm saying, yes, the Bible is our basis for what I'm saying. However, as we even look at, without even looking at the Bible, the principles I'm talking about apply universally. So what I'm saying is...
so do ancestors. They are also universal.
100%. I agree with you. However, for me, what I'm saying, please understand me. Please understand me. I'm trying to separate the two. I'm trying to separate the two. Yes. Sekuzvisa kwangu nematauro angachita sekuru. Ndazoona inyi kuti okay ndaona patiri kupesa. Ancestor, look, I agree and I am here because of my ancestors. I respect them, I honor them, I am African. Proud of my values. See, but no siyana manje bekuti inintaura nasekuru wangu wakashaya. They know. I am not, even if I am to come kumatare kwenyu mutaka kuombera doro, what have you. Poburuka mweya uchi ndini sekuru vatinashe zinyemba. Havasiriwo ndo point yangu. Nyango wakataura ne same voice. That spirit is mimicking sekuru wangu.
Okay, I understand that you have to defend this from a Christian point of view. I understand that you have to defend that. But for a second there, when you hear what you're saying about what guardian angels are supposed to do and what your bloodline is supposed to do, doesn't it somehow connect and make sense that if an angel can fight for you the way you are saying they can, why would it be difficult to understand and appreciate that your bloodline can actually be the guardian angel?
This is where I tried to explain, I think last week, and I said, we are talking about our bloodline, right? The bloodline issue is, it's a, okay, let me give the example I gave last week. And I said, when you're in grade 1, you went to primary school, you did what you did, then you moved to secondary school, high school, and so forth and so on. The memory is there that you were in grade 1. You can't go back there now. If you go back there now, security guard, headmaster, class E, and magadi. They'll tolerate you for about 10-15 minutes. After some time, you're now a threat there. This is the same thing with being a human being. When you pass away, you that you're supposed to be doing. Just like when you left primary school, you went to you had no thought of going back to primary school. Now let's talk about my guardian angels, like you're saying. Let's talk about that. Now, the angels are there. Every human being has been assigned an angel. Number one. Number two, there are angels that are assigned for many various tasks. Such that as you grow older, as you do what you're doing, more angels come, some they are less, and so forth and so on. Now, the same principle here, he also copies and mimics system here. This is where the confusion then comes in. Panopinda confusion here now. At that point now, ndopata akufanira kuchibatsirana kuti right, uya hausi mweya waMwari. It might say that this is I can give another example. Yeah, prophecy. Simply because I will say, Sister FoLake mangwana mchasanga nemurume akapfeka hembe yepink achakupa $1,000. Mangwana mosanga naye murume, then you get $1,000. That doesn't mean that I prophesy by the Spirit of God. Nekuti even nemweya yake ibenokwanisa kuprofita zvakare. So simply because there is a spirit speaking to me that sounds a particular way, that is saying things that are on point, does not make it is of God. That's where I'm coming from. And I will reiterate my point. Mudzimu, ancestors, I am proudly African. I honor my ancestors, but anditaure nevanhu vakafa because they are gone. And that now is actually idol worship. I don't speak to dead people.
Yeah.
I think Pastor Ori, we're confused.
But it
Was
sounds
Pastor
like,
Watiga?
Mfundisi, but it sounds like you're defending this point purely from a religious, how do I put it? From a religious standpoint, which is, I guess, what you're doing, more than the impossibility of it happening. We've had on this same show conversations where we've spoken about, people who died abruptly and have, sought justice for them. And that is a general belief we have in our culture and other cultures, but let's speak specifically to an African culture. To gatekeep us, there are certain principles you don't break because they will come back to you. So why is it unlikely that there is some sort of connection between those who are in the afterlife and the living outside defending it from a religious point of view? If somebody can safeguard what they've gone through and seek justice for themselves in the afterlife, why would it be unheard of that indeed you have got a bloodline protecting you, guiding you, just like this guardian angel you are describing, but more so people who love you, because your bloodline will love you?
Okay, I'll answer from this simple perspective. It is not possible for you to have a pure bloodline. Just as in myself, even though you're calling me pastor, I'm a Christian, I try my best to be an upright person. I am not 100% pure. There are mistakes I make. There are things that I do that I'm not even aware of. So for that reason alone, your reason, that disqualifies me from being 100% pure to then stand for all those who are yet to come. So I have to rely upon Amar. So from a practical perspective, yes, it makes sense for those that live before me to say, let's watch over our seed. And it as the evil pachao, maybe. Why I'm saying that, you say that then makes it difficult because because one of the titles of the devil is the accuser of the brethren. So for that reason, that disqualifies them from being the ones that protect me. So it makes sense logically, even as a parent. I want to take care of my child, but I can do my best, but I have a limit as a physical parent with physical children. Now we're talking about spiritual beings in a physical realm. It even makes it more complicated.
No, it doesn't, because Jesus, by perception, is doing exactly
right.
Now, what our ancestors.
I was coming to Jesus. I was coming to Jesus. I was coming to Jesus.
All right. So just hold that on for this. Let's speak, and then you can.
Pastor wangu achitaura kuti munhu akafa he can become an angel and Satan
No, I didn't say that.
Can become an angel. I quoted that. And Satan anotora izvozvo, and that spirit is a familiar spirit from Satan. Ko aya vanenge vaita angel vachibva kuna Mwari, unowati chi kana vachitaura nezwi rako rekuti unyazozwa ndisekuru wako, and you said you believe in your own culture, haukwanisi here kuteerera zvinokubatsira, ende kana wateerera wataura iwe zvokuti dzimwe mhepo, it's true, kana ngozi chacho inoya ichiita kunge mudzimu, ngozi chacho inoya ichiita kunge a prophet. We've got prophets religion, kune maprophets andoprofita one, and in that spirit unotozwa chimwe chini hanzi this is spirit of Adam, hanzi ndiri muprofita ndinoshanda nenguruve yaAdam, ndinoshanda nenguruve yaMikere, ndi Gabriel. Those are Christians. You hear him divide, but we're saying all those hanzi inini ndiri kuteera Jesu Jesu akatorarama akatofo kana muri kuteedzera mudzimu kauyo muri kuteedzera nhasi mudzimu wana sekuru wako kuti nhasi unotiti aiwa tikuteedzera nehanda chaminuka tikuteedzera wachaminuka tikuteedzera muyera moyo tikuteedzera murezvi tikuteedzera munhu mutapa because tese muno muzimbabwe tiri mhuri yamunhu mutapa tikuteedzera munhu mutapa because munhu mutapa ndowangwarisi sekuru wakakwanisa kuti sunungura munomu tikuteedzera munhu tapa tonzi chava chimwe muda kutora zvewamwe.
It is a good thing nyini for me. I also ndotedzera ivo munhu mutapa as in the leadership qualities that he exhibited. Ana nehanda ana chaminuka, that spirit of being liberal, kuti vakakwanisa kutungamira nyika. These are very good values. Zvinhu zvekuti fanira kuchera learn from and document and highlight as Pan-Africanists and say this is who we are. Yes, varungu vakauya kuita zvavakaita. But the life lesson and the legacy they gave us. Ndopa zvinogumira. Pakuda kuzora nawo manje kuti tudze kuti makaita say no, we don't go that far. Now mataura nyaya yaJesu haasi mudzimu. First and foremost, my understanding of mudzimu is kuti mweya handiti. Jesu haasi mweya. That he is alive physically. He's there. Number one. Number two.
If you can see him, then that's means
But explain that, what do you mean Jesus is physical?
He is very much alive. Okay, so this is the point now. Now. Because the discussion is very broad, but we have to focus on the minor points. So Jesus died, Anditika.
Like
after 3 days and 3 nights, he rose from the dead. Akatofamba, akatodya. He stayed for 40 days and 40 nights as Ashtofamba. That's my point. Show me, yes.
But you know what is interesting, Mufundisi? This is a story we've heard. I can also give you a story. Inini samaduvejeji. Tikata sanetembo yemtupo wangu. Zvinotonzi tateguru wangu wakafa zuva rikavora. And I believe that. The same way you, as Mfundisi, can believe that Jesus was resurrected from the dead. Sekuru Mafuta can also, as he's telling us about Chaminuka, they could not kill him. We've also heard about the burning bush.
Allow me to show you the difference. Allow me to show you where the difference is. Saga, if we're talking about a mango tree, how do we know it is a mango tree? It's the fruit, and Saga, you can't come with an apple and say, this apple is a mango. Kungo rumor of what is out mango, apple, orange. This is where I'm coming from with regards to Jesus. Mungamise mastateguru apa, mumisa mudzimu, mumisa Buddha, Muhammad, whoever. Pamuno ruma chibereko, cha Jesu, cha Muhammad, cha munoona msiyano. You're speaking about Peggy. I don't know that story too well. You're talking about you're talking about that's fine. Gary War. I'm talking about someone who died, rose from the dead. That's exactly
what Peggy did. He died and he woke up in the street.
Allow me to finish. My man's are good because no so big was.
Kwakamwenda Jesu is now a spirit. Jesu akaenda we no longer sing. If you can go Jesus, you will go Jesus.
No, but
allow me to get my point.
The point is mukunyepa mungu. Wari kutaura zvinhu zvawakadzidziswa mungano dzawo.
Allow me to define it in this way. Nyepa inozonetsera nepekutika. Inini ndataura ngati for you to understand this. Why inini as a Christian, no matter nyango chikaita, nyango mukandikudza mapoints enyu, let's say mataura 10 points that crush me. Ndine 1 point yangu ya Jesu. Why I will not move is because ndine naro. No. It's because I know in my heart what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
now, this is where I'm coming from.
Even your questions doesn't mean that you are clear.
No, but is it unfair that we all believe what we believe in our hearts? Like I'm saying, the same way you believe there's a burning bush in the Bible, right? Burning. It's a difficult thing to fathom, but you believe it, and I believe it, because we've been told it happened.
Yes.
Our belief systems, this is what happened. Why is it difficult for you as a Christian to accept that all these are all just belief systems we all have.
Let me give a test to everyone who's listening. This is a simple one. One of the few ways to prove what I'm saying about Jesus. Hapana munhu ari kuteerera right now who has not had this experience. And the next time it happens, hopefully it doesn't do what I'm saying. Zvekuti anonzi madzikirira. Wakaenda kuchikoro will say sleep apnea. Or zvekuti wakarara uri kudzinganiswa nemunhu. Or uri kurwa mausiku anditika. Say the name of Jesus. Ipapo. You come back and you will testify.
Yeah, but why is it also difficult for you to appreciate?
Now. The next time, Taura Chaminuka, or whoever you think has got power, you will see the difference. And this is why I'm saying,
but hold on,
the difference now.
I'm hearing you. We are all hearing, but why is it difficult for you to appreciate that? Actually, maybe, just maybe. Because what you are explaining, but it's something you read, and this is what Sekuru's point is.
No.
It's something you, hold on.
It's experiential.
Hold on. It's something you've read and you've accepted it as part of what it means to be a Christian, right? It is experiential, and so is Sekuru's story, and where he's coming from. It's also his lived experience. Why is it difficult for you as a Christian to accept that what you may define as your experience is not necessarily the ultimate or the only experience that is out there?
I'm open to.
I think all these guys, wakato religion isiri yemunomo vari mujeri nekuti hawakwanisi kufunga outside the box, because vakatoudzwa kuti Mwari anoenda nevanhu vavanotenda, whether it's Muhammad, whether it's Christianity, ndo Mwari. Zvedu zveuku vanozvimhura, and they don't accept kana mumwe munhu akutaura about theirs, but they can speak on behalf of ours. Vachimhura. Asi isu tikazoita kunge takuamhura, vanofungidzira kuti tikumhura Mwari. Yet it's not God, the creator. We are talking about the mediators. They are just the same. They have got a problem of taking the mediator as a God.
Sekura, I'm hearing you.
They've got a problem.
And when I say I'm hearing you, as I'm sitting here and listening to both of you, you are both speaking things that make sense. It's just the only difference is one has the perception that there's only one way, whereas Africans are more accommodating in belief.
Haufaniri kunzi manjenje, unofanira kunzi mamoyo. Ndakutotora kazvisiri zvako, asi ndikakuti mamoyo hapana chinobva kouri. Ungone problem yekuti uchazodya moyo, uchazodya mbizika, ukapera meno. Saka izvi it's about nzira. Zvangofanana nemutupo. Ngatisatuke mutupe womwe munhu, ngatisamhure mutupe womwe munhu. Zvese zviri kubva kuna musika one. That's where the problem is. They believe kuti Christianity is the only
If I was an atheist and I'm listening to both of you, why should I believe that Jesus rose from the dead and not that Chaminuka also was fighting off, they couldn't kill him? If I'm listening, we're going to have to leave it there only for time's sake, but it's a thought process. If you are both trying to, if I'm listening in as somebody who's not a Christian, and I'm hearing to both your stories, I haven't heard what makes any of your story more superior than the other, because they're all beliefs we've heard. But if you think about it on the physical, they're all stories that we all believe in, and yet one is supposed to be superior over the other. How does that work? It's 11 o'clock. It's time for the news. It's faith. Thanks.